Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Irving McIntyre, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Letitia Lestrade-Wyke, the officer in charge in the Office of the Director of Primary Healthcare Services, Dr. Gilda Nesty-Tong, the National Epidemiologist, Dr. Shaluddin Ahmed. Ladies and gentlemen, to those of you here and in the diaspora, good evening and thank you for joining us for this COVID-19 press briefing. This evening, we have with us only two presenters. However, we're sure that they will highlight many of the things happening within the ministry as far as COVID-19 is concerned and our vaccination rollout. We'll begin with the National Epidemiologist, Dr. Shaluddin Ahmed.
Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Irving McIntyre, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Mrs. Letitia Lestrade-Wyke, Officer in Charge in the Office of Director of Primary Healthcare, Dr. Gilda Nesty, Ms. Harry, media and listeners, good evening. It is my pleasure to present to you with the COVID update. As of today, our active cases are 6. Total recovered cases are 163. And to date, there have been no deaths due to COVID-19. All our active cases are imported ones. Most positive cases came from the United States. They had a valid negative PCR result prior to traveling to Dominica. They are asymptomatic. Several of the cases did have a COVID infection in the recent past, and so their current positive status may not be as a result of a new infection. It is likely that they have some viral residues. Nonetheless, they are at the COVID isolation unit, and we are assessing them accordingly. So far, COVID transmission remains sporadic in Dominica. Concerning the vaccine campaign, to date, we have administered 17,831 of first dose and 461 second dose. There have not been any reported severe side effects due to COVID vaccine in Dominica. Now, with regards to the AstraZeneca and clotting issue, what we know is that the WHO Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety, in short GACVS, COVID-19 subcommittee met virtually on 16th and 19th of March 2021 to review the available information and data on the thromboembolic events and thrombocytopenia, that means low platelets, after vaccination with the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Based on a careful scientific review of the available information, the subcommittee came to the following conclusions. AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, including Covishield, continues to have a positive benefit-risk profile with tremendous potential to prevent infections and reduce deaths across the world. Available data do not suggest any overall increase in clotting conditions. As such, deep vein thrombosis or pulmonary embolism following administration of COVID-19 vaccines. Reported rates of thromboembolic events after COVID-19 vaccines are in line with the expected number of diagnoses of these conditions. Both conditions occur naturally and are not uncommon. They also occur as a result of COVID-19 infection. The observed rates have been fewer than expected for such events. Thirdly, while very rare and unique thromboembolic events in combination with thrombocytopenia such as cerebral venous sinus thrombosis, in short CVST, have also been reported following vaccination with AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in Europe. It is not certain that they have been caused by vaccination. The European Medicine Agency's Pharmacovigilance and Risk Assessment Committee has reviewed 18 cases of CVST out of a total of 20 million vaccinations with AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in Europe. A causal relationship between these rare events has not been established at this time. Additionally, most countries, including Germany, France, and Italy, resumed vaccination with AstraZeneca's shot. Now, I will play a short video demonstrating the processes that are involved in ensuring safety of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Developing a vaccine is a long road full of checkpoints. Different phases of testing are designed to make sure it is both effective and safe. But with the whole world struggling to contain a pandemic and unprecedented amounts of scientific work taking place, the road to finding the COVID-19 vaccine looks more like this. But first, let's take a look at the usual path. During preclinical trials, the vaccine is tested on animals to determine whether they develop antibodies to the disease-causing germ. If these trials are successful, the candidate vaccine moves on to phase 1 trials in humans, during which the vaccine is given to a small number of healthy adults to assess its safety in humans. The results of every phase are reviewed by independent clinical experts who assess the research team's findings. Sometimes they'll pause the trials to check the results, always making sure the candidate vaccine is safe. The next phase involves testing a larger group of people to find out the appropriate dose, whether it stimulates an immune response, and of course, to assess its safety. Once the results have been checked by the independent expert observers, the candidate vaccine is evaluated among thousands more volunteers. This phase determines whether it is effective against disease. If the answer is yes, the vaccine is independently assessed by regulators for effectiveness, safety, and manufacturing quality. It is also assessed by independent policymakers who determine the best way to use the vaccine. If the assessment meets the regulatory standards, the product can be authorized for use, and the vaccine is then ready for licensing and registration. Once that happens, the approved vaccine can be used in the population. But because of the urgent need for a COVID-19 vaccine, some of the phases can run in parallel, and the research team can submit a request for temporary authorization from national regulatory authorities and an emergency use listing from WHO. This authorization and WHO emergency listing are only given if the vaccine meets strict safety and effectiveness criteria. But the road doesn't stop there. Once the vaccine is in use, it continues to be monitored by health authorities for safety and for effectiveness to ensure the vaccine maintains the highest standards. The race is on to find vaccines for COVID-19, which is why some phases are happening at the same time. But no one is cutting corners. Everyone is subject to the same checks and independent monitoring. So although we'll get the COVID-19 vaccines faster, they'll be as safe as other approved vaccines.
So in closing, I want to remind you that the more we delay in getting vaccinated, the more time there is for this virus to mutate. Consequently, this will lead to more variants and prolong this pandemic. With this, I thank you and have a good evening.
And thank you very much to the National Epidemiologist, Dr. Shaluddin Ahmed, And of course, I'm sure he provided us with a little bit of reassurance when it comes to vaccines. I know many people may have had concerns, but as we always say, we trust in the science. We trust what has been proven thus far. So again, thank you to Dr. Ahmed. Our next presenter this evening is the officer in charge in the Office of the Director of Primary Healthcare Services, Dr. Gilda Nesty Tong.
Minister of Health, Wellness and New Health Investments, Dr. Honorable Irvin McIntyre. PS of Health, Wellness and New Health Investments, Mrs. Letitia Lestrade-Wyke. National Epidemiologist, Dr. Shaluden Ahmed. And our moderator, Ms. Sheena Harry. Good evening. And good evening to the listening public. With 134 million cases infected worldwide with the COVID-19 virus, 2.9 million deaths worldwide, and the growing fear and anxiety over the COVID-19 virus, one is left with no choice but to ask themselves, what can I do to help stop this pandemic? How can I play my part? The answer lies in continuing to practice all COVID-19 public health measures, such as masking and all necessary respiratory and hand hygiene guidelines. Also, we urge you to get vaccinated, get jabbed, or get vaxxed. Receiving a vaccine is an excellent way to protect yourself and others from getting a disease. Overall, vaccines are generally safe and effective. Simply put, vaccines work by stimulating your body's immune system, increasing the amount of antibodies to a disease particle in your system, in this case, COVID-19, thereby decreasing your chances and protecting you from catching this dreaded disease. Studies have shown that vaccination is the most effective method of preventing infectious diseases. Widespread immunity due to vaccination has played a large part in the eradication of diseases, such as smallpox, or the elimination of diseases, such as polio and tetanus, and the decrease in rates of cervical cancer caused by the human papillomavirus. Vaccines are safe, vaccines are effective, and vaccines work. Vaccines allow your immune system to recognize a disease, to produce antibodies, and to remember the disease and how to fight it. It is a safe and clever way to boost your immune system without causing illness. At present, we have been gifted and have been able to source the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine and the Sinopharm vaccine. Side effects of vaccines are usually mild and include your typical fever, chills, soreness at the site of administration, and even fatigue. To date on this island, as indicated previously, we have had no severe documented side effects to either of these vaccines. As also stated, we are aware, however, that concerns do continue and can serve as a hindrance in achieving of our goal of returning to normalcy. We are aware there have been reports received of rare thromboembolic events or rare blood clots with the AstraZeneca vaccine. As a precautionary measure, some countries have even decided to suspend administration. However, others continue to recognize the importance of the vaccine and, although exposed to the same information, continue to administer the AstraZeneca vaccine. In any vaccine campaign, it is routine practice to report any side effect experienced, no matter how small or how large. Once you, the recipient, feels it is reportable, then we will honor it. This highlights a crucial aspect of any vaccination campaign, which is a strong and reactive surveillance system prepared to listen and adequately investigate all complaints so as to embark on all necessary investigations to determine a causal relationship. WHO continues to be in close contact with the European medicines agencies and regulators worldwide to determine the safety of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Once any new information regarding safety is available, it is communicated to the Ministry of Health and to the general public. As of now, WHO clearly believes that the benefits of the AstraZeneca vaccine outweighs the risk. Ladies and gentlemen, because of this pandemic, many people suffer. Of paramount concern, of course, is our health. But suffering does not stop there. Financially and psychologically, persons are constantly reminded of the presence of the pandemic. Gone are the days where cruise ships were free to dock our ports, or yachts were allowed to grace our shores without the constant worry or fear of getting COVID-19. Gone are the days when we could hop on the ferry and safely embark on a weekend trip to our neighboring French islands. Because of this pandemic, the benefits we once enjoyed have been diminished and felt by everyone. So we all must come together to do what we can to stop this pandemic. On the 10th of February, the first batch of AstraZeneca vaccine was received. We begin administration of the second dose of this particular batch of vaccine today, Friday, April 9th. We have also received a new batch of 28,800 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine from the COVAX facility, allowing us to continue with first doses of AstraZeneca up until the end of this month, April 30th, 2021. So for those of you who have not yet received their AstraZeneca vaccine, please feel free to do so now. So far, those who have not also in our possession, is the Sinopharm vaccine. We have thus far successfully given the 2-dose regimen of the Sinopharm vaccine to several recipients, taking us well on our way towards achieving herd immunity on our island. We are, however, not there yet. We, however, also continue to implore the general public to seize the opportunity to receive the AstraZeneca vaccine or the Sinopharm vaccine, both of which are ready and available for administration. This speaks to our quest and objective of attaining normalcy once more. We should all work together to again achieve a time where we no longer have to wear a mask or avoid large crowds or not engage in activities that we enjoy or which help preserve, promote, and safeguard our unrivaled Dominican culture. Activities such as our rich independence exhibitions and our long-awaited carnival celebrations. Let us work together and encourage each other to take the available vaccines. Together, we can all reduce our chances of getting the COVID-19 virus, reduce our chances of spreading the virus, decrease the prevalence of the virus and the possibility of development of new viral strains, thereby bringing a much-desired end to this dreaded pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Gilda Nesty-Tong, who again is the officer in charge in the Office of the Director of Primary Healthcare Services. Dr. Nesty, I would like to thank you and your team because you have been in the forefront of this vaccine rollout. You've been doing an excellent job. It's a tedious, tiresome job, but for the safety of our country, you and the rest of the primary healthcare team have really put your best foot forward. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you again that in every health district, the vaccine is available. Tomorrow, the vaccine will also be available at the All Saints University and in Soufriere on the Soufriere Bayfront. Again, at all the main health centers in every health district. That's tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please avail yourselves of this opportunity. Next week, of course, vaccinations will continue within the health districts. And as always, we'll keep you updated on the other areas, the other locations where vaccinations will be done. We remind you that for those of you who are due for your second dose of the vaccine, please check your appointment card or your form that you were given to go home with. Your date will be on there, and you need to come to the location where you got your first dose to get your second dose. Again, your vaccination card or your form. The date for your second dose is on there, and we urge you to come and receive your second dose. Just by way of reiterating the numbers here in Dominica, 6 active COVID-19 cases so far. 17,831 people have received their first dose, while 461 have received their second dose. As always, we thank you for your time and attention. We thank the media partners for making this broadcast possible, and we wish you a safe weekend. Thank you.